Well, greetings and salutations. How's everybody doing? So, today's video review today's discussion is on. Let me get my notes up. Scary stories to tell in the dark. So the film is from 2019. It's directed by André Øvredal. He's Norwegian. He directed films such as Troll Hunter and The Autopsy of Jane Doe. The film was produced by Guillermo Del Toro. He is responsible for such films as Crimson Peak, Pacific Rim, also Blade 2, Hellboy 1 and 2, Kronos, I'm trying to think, a lot of films, yeah. He also did a lot of failed video games. I still want to do Silent Hills. What could have been? But regardless of that, we're not talking about Silent Hills. We're talking about Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark was originally based on a book series written by Alvin Schwartz. I have one of his books in a dark room. I've got to say, when the film was announced, I started doing some research because when I look back at it, I actually did read the books as a kid, and yeah, they were kind of scary for you. I gotta say, if you're on my short version of the story, like thoughts of the film, I gotta say I enjoyed the film. I thought the scares were pretty efficient. Even for a PG-13 movie that's for teens, it's pretty dang good. But it could also be for adults too. I like the fact that the film doesn't take place in modern day, because I felt like, with Goosebumps, they did that. I'm just kind of happy they didn't take place in modern day, because I feel like the story would have been hindered if they'd taken place in modern day. They could have just said, "Oh hey, this is what happened, blah 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 blah," or something like that. But so I'm gonna talk about the cast and all that. So the cast includes Zoe Kellett as Stella Nichols, Michael Garza as Roman Morales, Gabriel Rush as Augie Hildebrandt, Austin Zatterer as Charlie Chuck Steinberg, Natalie Granshorn as Rufy Steinberg, Austin Abrams as Tommy Milner, Dean Norris as Deputy Roy Nichols, Gil Bellows as Police Chief Turner, Loren Toussaint as Louis Baptiste, Marie Ward as Miss Hildebrandt, Matt Smith as Mr. Steinberg. I'm really surprised I did not see them in this film. I really am. Him. Because I love Matt Smith. Because he was my doctor. But yeah, so the plot of it is, the film takes place, on Halloween. A group of young, adolescents, get into some mishaps, and then they're trying to away from the neighborhood bully, and then they're going to the haunted house, the haunted house of a local legend, and, like, one of the characters, trying to think, who was it? Stella. She ends up finding a book which tells stories from Sarah Bellows, who basically is a legend in the town, because the film takes place in 1968. And it kind of works, because you'd think, because if the stories in the film were like modernized, or like if it was modern day, most of the teens would be thinking like, I don't care, this what's on Facebook or something like that. Um, I mean, I gotta say the monsters and effects in this movie are really top notch. So is the lighting in this film. Usually, like most, like a lot, like 2019, some horror films, like when it comes to lighting, have not been that great. I gotta say that, like, say the only two horror films out of this year for 2019 that had great lighting and it just helps the film totally was this film, and also trying to think, Midsummer. Even though Midsummer was mostly daytime, it still was amazing to look at. And I can say that's also the case with this film. You want to look at these things, the way things look, because when you look at the monsters, you do not want them to be brighter. Because if it was, you could see more of them. I mean, if you could see more of them, that'd be great. But at the same time, you want them to be taking place in the dark. Because, it's scary that way. I mean, it's giving you the vibe of, like, say, certain scenes, like, you'd think, like when you're a kid, you're afraid of the dark. Um, it gives you a callback to that, I'd say. That's just my opinion. Because, I mean, speaking for myself, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the dark. Um, and I'm gonna say like, I'm gonna go into spoiler territory right now, so, if if you don't want me to spoil anything, I would recommend leaving in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, I'm gonna say the Harold story, which is because he's the first monster we see. He is the Scarecrow for the bully character of Tommy Hilner. Like, Tommy is the target uh, of the farmers who had basically would torture Harold in the original book. Um, I gotta say this version of Harold is dark. It really is, cause when he comes to life, he is dark as can be. Not dark as in like just the way it looks, but the tone of it, like basically when we first see him move, it is it's creepy. We see him chase Tommy using a pitchfork, and I gotta say his death scene is gruesome. It's not gruesome as in bloody and gory, but gruesome as in creatively gruesome. Um, cause uh, he ends up first pitchforking Harold, then Harold pitchforks Tommy, and then he ends up running away trying to yell at his family, say help me, and then slowly he starts getting turned into a scarecrow. He gets straw coming out of his mouth and his hands, and also his chest is like, pretty messed up stuff. Um, the first time also the the toe creature who basically the big toe. Yeah, that one, like when I was saying how like say parts of like like you're like when you're a kid you're afraid of what's in the darkness. I could say like it kind of messes with you because like one aspect is like say um Chuck, who it's his story, um when it comes to wait no it's Augie. Augie, when it comes to Augie, he is the one who involved with the big toe. Yeah, it's Augie. Yeah, he ends up the story of the big toe. So he ends up getting got, and he's trying to run away, but the monster effect for the Where's My Toe Lady, it is, yeah, it looks great. The makeup, the prosthetics, it is creepy as can be. I gotta say the effects people, they did, I'd say you guys did a wonderful job. You really did. Like when he is running away from the monster, like when you're a kid you just like want to run away and you think like I'm hiding under covers because you don't want to see, or you hide under the bed, like something like that. Like so it's basically they kind of expect like always just like say, oh we expect the monster to come from the door, because you hear that messes with your expectations. And I kind of love this fact, instead of going from above the bed, it just drags him out from under the bed. And yeah, it. But the one story I thought like, okay, I felt like okay, it works, but at the same time I thought it wasn't as I think the effect was really good, but at the same time, like why did this character deserve it? I mean, like most of the characters aren't who get their stories. I mean, I understand why Rufy, she gets the spider because she is very at times a bit. The first time we see her, we see her putting makeup on her, sometimes on her face because she's a bit conscious, zits and all that. So she gets the spider. Plus, it's kind of revealed because she gets spiders on her because of a scene at the beginning when they get trapped inside of Sarah Bellows' house because Tommy is a bit of a dick and just yeah. I mean, I can say most of the kids basically of like say whereas Augie, August, no, Augie, Chuck, Ramon, Stella, they are all likable. They're all likable characters. I mean, you feel bad for them like when it's their turn for their story. You kind of do feel like it. But that's just me. I mean, that's just my opinion. Um, I also like one of the best. I'm trying to think. Let me see. I can say one of the best monster part of this film though, is I gotta say the Jiggly Man. He is the fourth monster, I think, because, I mean, he's also Ramon's monster. Oh yeah, I forgot to say Chuck's monster was the Pale Lady, and that whole sequence is really, it's kind of nightmare fuel, because, you don't expect that. I mean, not the fact that, like, one thing that happens, he's just trying to run away from it, because he had a bad dream of the Red Room. And he ends up running away, and the Pale Lady keeps on circling him around, circle whatever's coming from this hallway, and all that, da-da-da-da-da. And I thought it was pretty good. But to be honest, I gotta say this director, he did a fine job. He really did. I've also got to say, I love the Jiggly Man. The Jiggly Man was inspired by his introduction was also inspired by the short story "What Do You Come For," which was really about an old lady who was just sad because she's alone. But the introduction of the Jiggly Man is based on the what do you come for, and it was. And I can say when the cop sees the Jiggly Man when it's first introduced, he goes like, "Say, are you shitting me?" And he goes like, "Say," and he goes like, and he goes like, and the cop does this thing that any horror movie, like basically any character in a horror film should do, just shoot it. But then he goes like, but then Jacob goes like, say, he says, he doesn't say anything to him, but he ends up, you know, getting all of his body parts together, and then goes like, and then he basically just goes like instead of saying words, just like, he basically just kills off the cop, and it is pretty good. And one of Ramon's fears was that he, because it's revealed through storbacks that he was going to be his brother, because this film takes place in 1968, around the time of Vietnam. And you know, the Reagan Nixon presidential election. Um, and it was, and I'd say there's a bit of metaphors. Yeah, I mean overall, I feel like the film's really good. I'm still wondering. I still did not. I'm still a bit upset that I didn't notice Matt Smith in this film. But then it could have been a different Matt Smith. Maybe it's a common name. Um, yeah, overall, the makeup for this movie is really great. The monster effects, is really good. There's a scene where Ramon is getting Stella to get to the house so that he can buy her some time to, tell Sarabella that she is innocent of, that she was not a bad person and all that, because her family was a bunch of messed up. So, what he does is really great. He's the Jiggly Man is going like chasing after Ramon. He's getting on top of the police car that Ramon's driving away in, and he ends up trying to move his car, like shake him off. You know what you do in horror films, I guess. Uh, so he ends up crashing the police car into a truck that's just randomly just sitting on the edge of the road, and so one thing that happens is the Django Man just can't get out, and because Ramon just ran away. He just goes, and then he basically just goes like, ah, and he just has to break his body parts off and reassemble himself. Our final monster is Cerebellus herself, which was based on the story of the haunted house. So I guess they added some new liberties for it. A lot of people were saying how they didn't like. I've heard some people say they didn't like his whole aspect of having Cerebellus as the main focus and having all the stories connected to her and all that. And I guess you could have done it with, like, say, each story, like, done, like, say, a VHS sort of thing. But at the same time, I'm not sure it would have worked as well, because then you'd feel, okay, how do we connect it into the next story? Because even most on footage, even like some films that have a anthology, you need to have a way where it has, like, say, one central point, and how it, dwells all to making a connection. You could have done it with this film, but I'm not sure how, like, if it would have been good, better, or worse, but overall, I'm gonna say what they did works. The monster effects, the acting for the monsters is really great. The lighting, the acting from our leads is great. At times, like, say, in most, like, say, young adult horror stories, it's the adults who basically just, like, say, oh, you kids are crazy. It's like that trope where, like, say, all the kids are not being listened to, or no one's giving them, attention because they think, oh, these kids are losing it. But, that works too as well. But overall, I enjoyed Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. But have you seen Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? Have you seen Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? What are your thoughts? Put your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.